The scene that I want to take you to, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam coming from Quba, going down towards Medina. After he camped in Quba for several weeks, sallallahu alayhi wa wasallam. And now he moving to Medina, riding his camel, and behind him in the camel, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, radifu ala al-naqa. And the camel coming. The Sahaba radiallahu anhu Medina heard that the Prophet sallallahu moving to Medina. And now he's going to live in Medina. He's moving finally. So every, it is tribes and houses. So every house in Medina was so excited. كانت بيوت المدينة كلها فرحة. كلها فرحة. So happy that the Prophet ﷺ coming. And each one of them would like to host the Prophet ﷺ. So when he walking, the house of this tribe and the house of this tribe and the house from that tribe, everybody will come. Ya Rasulullah, انزل عندنا. Ya Rasulullah, هنا المنعة. Ya Rasulullah, هنا السلاح. Ya Rasulullah, دماؤنا دونك يا رسول الله. أموالنا دونك يا رسول الله. Come here. Here you will find the good soldiers. Here you will find the wealth. Here the money that will spend on you and your friends. Here we will take care of you. He will do this. Everyone welcoming in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. الذي على الطريق خرجوا من بيوتهم يستقبلون. Those who are on the side of the wall of the road, they came out. Those who live a little bit farther, they came in cluster, and they said, Ya Rasulullah. Everybody carrying their weapons, carrying whatever. Ya Rasulullah, making sign. Here, come to us, come to us. And you can tell the whole entire Medina on fire. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول لهم دعوها فإنها مأمورة. Don't touch it. Don't touch the camel. The camels are going to go to a place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will choose for this camel. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sent a message to his akhwal, his mother's family side, okay, his uncles, maternal uncles, from his mother's side, because his mother Amina from Bani Najjar. So Bani Najjar behind the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, carrying like an entourage with him and carrying their weapons, showing that they are a good household, a strong, tribe as well, and they will take care of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not say where he's going. And the camel keep going. وتمشي الناقة وتمشي الناقة القصواء حتى تأتي على مربد لبني النجار. إيش معنى مربد؟ مربد المكان مفتوح كذا يجعلون فيه الغنم أحيانا زي الحوش. The camel goes to an area where people will gather their sheep and like an open area. Let's like you see these guys, our neighbor have like a fence around an open area where they use it for multi-use. Sometimes they put their cattle in it, like they put their cars in the modern days. Okay. So when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam can yusalli fi marabid al-ghanam, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he will pray where the sheep gather, and he said that's where the barakah is. Anyway, he goes to this place, and the she camel, settled, تنزل. But the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not move. ما تحرك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. وإذ بالناقة تلتفت يمينا ويسارا كأنها تبحث عن مكان. And the she camel, قصواء, looking left and right. Not subtle 100%. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not get off yet. Then all of a sudden the she camel stood up and start moving. And now everybody's heart is like, maybe me next, maybe this is. And Nabi يقول دعوها, just leave it. It goes around, that come back to one specific spot in the same area, and it settled. Sat down. قال فبركت وبركت بكل ما عليها. يعني when it came down on the ground, it fully settled on the ground. The chest all the way down. Settled completely. And when it did that, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam took off the camel. That spot where he took off, where that camel settled, today, if you want to know which one, if you go to Medina Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, هذا هو موضع منبر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اليوم. This is the spot where you have the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم minbar that you stand on to give the khutbah. Today, that's the spot. in the haram, in the masjid in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam today. So in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam get off. And now the neighbors are Bani Najjar, everybody from them, there are multiple houses. My house, my house, my house, Ya Rasulullah, come to me, come to me. هذا الحائط عند بيت أبي أيوب الأنصاري رضي الله عنه. Right where Abu Ayyub al-Ansari is. Abu Ayyub al-Ansari did not wait. These people said, Ya Rasulullah, come to my house. Abu Ayyub ما انتظر. راح شال ركاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وأغراض النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم حملها وذهب فيها للبيت. He went and he carried the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم's luggage and his stuff, and he put it and he took it to the house. He didn't even ask. Then he said, Ya Rasulullah, I already got your stuff in my house. فضحك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وقال للناس الرجل مع رحله. He said, the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم, the man follow his luggage. He laughed صلى الله عليه وسلم and he said, خلاص, I have to follow my luggage. I have to follow my stuff. And he goes there and he stayed about 2 weeks, and Abu Ayyub let him sit on the upper floor. ليش? He said, I would not dare to walk on the roof and I feel that Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم أسفل مني. ما أستطيع كيف أمشي على سقف والنبي تحت قدمي. He said, I couldn't let him sleep downstairs because I could not think of me walking on the roof and underneath my feet Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم sleeping. Wouldn't be proper. فجعله فوق صلى الله عليه وسلم. المهم, exactly the same day or the next day صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, هذا المربد لمن? This is for who? فقال معاذ بن العفراء, قال يا رسول الله, this is for Sahel and Suhail. They are 2 orphaned and I'm in charge of them. That the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم said, we want to buy it and transfer it to a masjid. He said, buy it? No, Ya Rasulullah, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. I will pay them something that make them happy. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بل بالثمن ثمنه لنا. No, I want to know what the price of it. He said, just like, don't worry. كل الأنصار يقولون يا رسول الله, we'll take care of it. You just came to our city. You're not going to let you pay? And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, no. These 2 boys, 2 orphaned boys, asked, what is the value of their property, and we will pay them. فكانت 10 دنانير من ذهب. 10 dinars of ذهب, and he paid them. And in one riwayah that Abu Bakr paid them the money. قال أبدا, I have to. يقول أنس ibn Malik, now he's going to describe us this area which is became the masjid. He said, كانت هذا المربد has 3 things. نخل قديم مهمل. Palm trees that are old, some live, some dead. It's not used, like no dates or anything in it. وفيها قبور لبعض المشركين من أهل المدينة. And some pagans' graves, like few graves for pagans from before. وفيها خرب وتنطق خرب أيضا بالكسر وبالفتح الخاء. الخرب أو الخرب, it is basically old buildings, abandoned buildings. مبنى مهجور. That's it. And it is about, the size of this area is about 120 feet, okay? 120 feet by 150 feet. That's it. Or at 200 feet maximum. يعني. طيب, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, as for the building, knock it down and level it. As for the palm tree, cut it, and we're going to use the trunk to build the masjid with it, and the branches to build the masjid with it. As for the grave, dig it and bury them somewhere else. So he dug the grave and whatever around the grave, clean it up, and they level the place. And then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, now after all this done, he said, let's start building the masjid. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam want to demonstrate how he is part of building the masjid من أول لحظة, from the first moment. وإذ بالنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ينزع رداءه صلى الله عليه وسلم عاري الصدر صلى الله عليه وسلم عليه بس الإزار ويقول هلم. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم take off the upper garment. He became the upper part of his body not covered, only the lower part covered. And النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم let's work. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يشتغل معاهم. and النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم work with them. حتى أسيد بن الحضير رأى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كذا يشيل حجر على بطنه ثقيل. أسيد بن الحضير saw the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم carrying a heavy rock against his stomach, like carry it like this, يعني using his body to carry it. He said, Ya Rasulullah, let me carry it. He said, no, there's another rock over there. You go carry it. Everybody carry something. وإذ بالصحابة رضي الله عنهم became like, as we say, excuse the expression, like in a steroid. You know, everybody is so active and gathering the rocks, and they start building the masjid piece by piece, brick by brick. And الصحابة رضي الله عنهم في هذا الحماس, in this excitement, they were like what? They were like making arajiz. They were singing, like poetries. And they would say something, وَإِنْ نَقْعُدْ وَالنَّبِيُّ يَعْمَلُ فَإِنَّ ذَاكَ هُوَ الْعَمَلُ الْمُضَلَّلُ. How come we sit and we see the Prophet ﷺ working? We should work. يقول اللهم لا عيش إلا عيش الآخرة فاغفر اللهم للأنصار والمهاجرة. And the Nabi ﷺ singing with them. But the Nabi ﷺ, subhanallah, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من أفصح الناس. He's the most eloquent one in Arabic. لكنه لا يقول الشعر ولا يستقيم لسانه بالشعر مطلقا. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم does not know how to say poetry, even though he's very eloquent. Not a single line, even when he quote a poetry, كان حتى إذا حكى بيت من الشعر يكسره صلى الله عليه وسلم. يكون مكسور, ما يكون مستقيم. أو يحكي نصف بيت, only half a line of poetry. Or if you do the poetry, it will not rhyme properly. There is something wrong in the structure of it. SubhanAllah, that's why Allah sadaq subhanahu when He said, He does not say poetry. He's not a poet. Okay? So it's interesting with all this, because that's the Quran, it is not from His own. Anyway, so in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because he doesn't say poetry, what in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would say? Would say the last word. فهم مثلا يقولون فاغفر للأنصار والمهاجرة. The Nabi Sallallahu والمهاجرة, the last word. And that's how he said المضلل المضلل. So the last word he just repeated with them, and they are excited. I can spend a longer time just explaining you and gather you the riwayat that describe how Sahaba are so interesting in it. مثلا من المشاهد العجيبة, one of the beautiful scenes in that scenery, Ben Ammar ibn Yasir. Ammar ibn Yasir is a big, strong man, and he is young. Okay, so he's mashallah good, built. كان الناس تحمل لبنة وعمار هذا يحمل لبنتين. People will carry barely one rock. Ammar ibn Yasir will carry two. And he will carry like this on his head. وكان شعره أجعد. He originally from Africa. He's a strong man. And his hair was kinky hair. It became all dusty. And Nabi Sallallahu saw him at the end of the day, and he's like, like double the work. طيب, so he said, Ya Rasulullah, قتلوني, ذبحوني he said, Ya Rasulullah, they killed me with all the work, they loading me so much. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يقتلونك وإنما تقتلك الفئة الباغية تدعوهم إلى الجنة ويدعونك إلى النار. قال نعوذ بالله من الفتن يا رسول الله. He said, Ya Rasulullah, they killed me. And Nabi Sallallahu said, no, they will not kill you. You know who will kill you? The transgressor group. SubhanAllah, this word, he did not understand what it means until years and years and decades later, in 40 Hijri or 39 Hijri, when the war was happened between Muawiyah and Ali radiallahu anhu, and Ammar ibn Yasir was in the camp of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Then he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and one of the beautiful scene there, Ali radiallahu anhu كان فيه دعابة. Ali, he liked to joke. طيب, فعلي رضي الله عنه, so he said a poetry عشان شاف مين؟ عثمان بن عفان. عثمان بن عفان رجل أنيق جدا. Uthman Affan is a very gentleman. He well dressed, he take care of himself. You know, when you digging and building, everybody is dusty, everybody carrying, you know, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم took off his رداء. هذا عثمان لا، يعني حاجة إيش اتيكيت، يشيل الحجر كذا. He hold the rock far from his clothes, like this. So he doesn't get dusty. He wanted to keep his clothes. Ali radiallahu anh saw him like that. Then he said, ولا يستوي من يعمر المساجد مساجد فيها راكعا وساجدا قال ممن يحاذر الغبار ويباعد. يعني ايش؟ It's not going to be like the one who's so worried about dust to get dusty. فعثمان رضي الله عنه, he heard him saying this, and you know he's like hitting on him, and he laughed and Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم smiling at them. Just الجو هذا. I want you, I give you this just simple example to make you live the scene, the feeling, the excitement, the brotherhood, the love. That's what this masjid built with. Before it was built with rocks and built with, you know, with clays. It was built with love and care. And from the day one, the first rock that was put in the ground, it have brought the hearts of the Muslims together. This is genius. Genius. And Dr. Tariq, يعني, I'm sure he can comment on this as a sociologist. This genius, when you come to a society, you want to bring them together, you make a project and you make them work together to accomplish something together. That's a genius idea. You're talking about muhajirin from a different tribe, different city to Medina, and you want to merge them together, and he make that project together. Anyway, it's a long story, but what I want you to know that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam built this masjid, and it's simple masjid. Now, anybody here can tell me, what is the Qibla, north or south? Medina is what? Al-Qibla is south. No, Al-Qibla at that time was north to Jerusalem. So they built the masjid, and what they did in the front, there is no, they built about 4 feet or something like that, 3 feet, rocks, solid rocks. Then after that, they had clays mixed with some sticks. That's the wall. 1, 2, 3 in the front, okay? And it has 3 doors and 4 in the back. The door is an open area. يعني the door is like between this pillar and let's say it's an open كده area. No door to lock. That's why the Arabi comes with his camels all the way to the middle of the masjid. يعني تخيل, you have the masjid and somebody park his car here. ابن عمر يقول كانت الكلاب تذهب وتجيء في المسجد ونحن فيه. Ibn Umar said the dogs will come and walk in the masjid, get out of the masjid. Well, so there is no door, it's not locked. So basically, so it has 3 openings, one of them designated for women. So the south is where the door and the 2 sides. خلاص? In Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam house where? In the south, the opposite of the Qibla. طيب, he built his house next to it. And my understanding also is that basically the height of the wall is not connected all the way to the roof. The roof is made from the branches that they cut, or the branches and some of the pieces they cut from these palm trees that they cut down. It doesn't connect all the way to the roof. There is a space. Why? For air, for light to come in. Okay? But the roof is good to keep. The roof only cover maybe 20% of the masjid. And the back, or 30% of the masjid, 1/3. And the 2/3 is open air. خلاص? So I'm going to wrap it up. Now, they stayed like this 18 months. After 18 months, the Qibla changed from north to south. Now they have to face south. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, his house ended up what? In the Qibla. Because some people said it's weird, like why the Prophet ﷺ house in the Qibla? It's actually, originally it wasn't. So what they did, they closed the door in the south and they make a door in the north, the opposite. Did they make any improvement? Not yet. Nothing. Khaybar comes, 7th Hijrah, and in Khaybar, an improvement. The Muslim number increased tremendously. So in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made an expansion, almost double the size of the original masjid. طيب, just to wrap it up quickly. Then 8th Hijrah, something new happened to the masjid. And by the way, the expansion was with the same exact material that it was built with originally. 8th Hijrah, حبة جديدة حصل في المسجد. First time. What was it? A woman came to the Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, now after this expansion, which is done in 7th Hijrah, now the masjid is big, huge, and you're far away from the woman, we cannot see you. Ya Rasulullah, inna ladayya najjaran. I have a carpenter work for me. What do you think? أحمل لك أصنع لك أعوادا تحمل عظامك حينما تخاطبنا فنراك. I will make for you something to stand on, so higher كذا, which is the member. It's 3 steps higher, so it carry you, it will be strong enough to carry you when you stand up, and you will be able to basically, we will be able to see you. 9 Hijrah, another new things happen. ايش العام التاسع؟ يسمونه عام الوفود, where all the people from all Arabia come to visit the Prophet ﷺ, representative from every tribe. فكان يدخلون ما يعرفون النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. They did not know where is he sitting, and sometimes became confusing. So الصحابة, some of them اقترح, قال يا رسول الله لو صنعنا لك دكانا. يعني ايش دكانا؟ دكة. قالوا يا رسول الله, what if we make for you some kind of, a platform, like a small little stage كذا. It's like in culture, I don't know what it's in other culture, but in Arab culture, الدكة, it's like something made of wood. The chair or the couch that you have it made of wood in your backyard, in the front yard, in front of your house, the bench, yeah, something like that. But that one was very small. It's like about 1.5 feet above the ground. That's it. وكانت من لبن, from clay. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, so people will recognize him. طبعا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعرف بأنوار نبوته صلى الله عليه وسلم وجماله وضيائه. It is, but you recognize him when you look at his. But sometimes they mix between him and other companions. Because in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people will think لما تيجي, if you can imagine the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam coming, you think an old man with the mashallah white beard like Shaykh Ibrahim, كذا. But actually he is more like Dr. Noor, have no single white hair. Yeah, not single white hair in his face. For me. I'm just kidding. So, Anas يقول, I was able to count 20 white hair in his face. That's it. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because he used to dye his hair. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Going back to the topic. So now, in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, this is a new improvement. Then after that, he died. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, nothing. Just yurammim, just remodeling. Nothing expansion. Umar comes, he made a huge expansion. And this is the first time the minbar, where the Prophet minbar is? So he made a little bit of expansion beyond the minbar. And from the west, he expanded the masjid. Huge expansion in the west. طيب يموت, and the same material. And I have a point why I'm giving you this. Uthman يأتي رضي الله عنه. Then Uthman رضي الله عنه made a very interesting change to the masjid in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is it? Beside expanding it, he changed the materials. What did he do? He didn't use clay anymore. He used something, I don't know what's the, إيش الجبس? Cement. Yeah, cement. It's like he used cement, not clay. Cement is very expensive in that time. Huh? Like stucco. Something similar to the stucco. Expensive, this fancy. Then the roof, it was made of what? You remember? The branches and the trench of the palm tree. راح وحط من خشب العاج. A very expensive type of wood. And the rocks, أخذ حجارة منقوشة. He put a rock that it has some kind of decoration in it and يعني some lines, and it looks like simple. يعني what is going to be 2 lines كده, that's it. الناس استنكرت. People said, why did you change? This is not was the عهد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم was not like that. It was plain, it was this. فقال عثمان رضي الله عنه, قال وهل بيوتكم هي كما كانت على عهد صلى الله عليه وسلم؟ شوف الفقه. Uthman told them, and now your homes is the same thing that it was in the Prophet ﷺ. النبي إنما بنى المسجد بما يوازي بيوت الناس. When he built the masjid, he built it similar to what the majority's houses looks like. والآن بعد أن فتح الله عليكم, and now after Allah bless you with all this and all the improvement happened to your home, I will do the same to Masjid, to Baytillah, to the house of Allah. And he, radiallahu anhu, told him that and became the, يعني, I don't mean to enter to the history of the building of the masjid, but I want this to be, because there is a lessons from all this. My brothers and sisters, I'll stop here. But while I'm stopping here, I want you to know there is so much happened in this masjid. This masjid was not just a place where Allahu Akbar, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, that's it. La, la, la. They used to gather, they used to talk, they used to socialize. So everything that, every tasks used to be done in Masjid Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, later on in time moved out the masjid except one particular task. Yani, for example, the masjid was in the time of the Prophet place for to judge between people. Later on there is court, moved out. The masjid was a place for war to be declared. Later on moved out, في دار الخلافة. And there is صاحب الشرطة in history, you know, a police and defense ministers. And كانت المال, when مال البحرين came, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, when the war booties came and money came from Bahrain, do you know what the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم said? He said, pour it all in the middle of the masjid. Do you know how he distributed? He said, everyone, Bismillah, his stove like this, fill it up. Everybody take his upper rida, fill it up completely and take home. It's like the treasury was the masjid. Later on became, there is something called treasury. So everything moved out of the masjid, almost many of these tasks except one task always remain in the masjid and should always remain in the masjid. أن المسجد دائما بقي هو وعاء العبادة. It's the place of ibadah. That's why it is so important that our masajid never lose sight of this. Never translate our masajid to be a social club or, you know, a community service area. That's excellent, but the masjid has to stay as a masjid. The masjid has a message. This is the message where people they come to worship Allah. They come to be completely immersed in the ibadah. Learn how the ibadah, learn their deen. Even later on there is schools. أيضا هذا المسجد دائما وأبدا بقي هو الوعاء الذي تجتمع فيه قلوب الأمة. The community hearts are mixed and met inside the masjid. And that task should always be in the front of you when you have a masjid. That's the place where you unified the Muslim. That's the place when people feel safe. ولذلك الله قال في بيوت. It's home and you feel safe at home. And nothing like home. He didn't say places. He said homes. بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع. And I remember from day one when we planning for this masjid, I mentioned this verse and I said this place always has to feel homey. كان في المسجد تحصل أحداث وأشياء وقصص مضحكة. Things make you laugh, make you cry. But I guess if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us time, next Ramadan we can know more what happened in that masjid. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.